Judge Caprio realizes this woman has cancer. His decision at the end of this video will you make cry. I couldn't walk fast enough. Please, I'm sorry. The woman's voice cracked as she stood at the defendant's table. Her hands shook violently as she tried to hold a stack of crumpled papers. One slipped through her fingers and floated to the floor. She bent to pick it up and nearly lost her balance. Judge Frank Caprio raised one hand gently. Ma'am, please. Stop. Take a breath. She straightened slowly, gripping the edge of the table. Her face was pale, almost gray. Dark circles hung beneath her eyes like bruises. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm so sorry. He set his pen down. There's no need to apologize yet. We haven't even started. Miss Reyes, the clerk, glanced at the judge, then at the woman. Officer D'Angelo shifted near the door, his expression uncertain. The woman tried to smooth the papers against the table, but her hands wouldn't stop trembling. Judge Caprio leaned forward slightly. What's your name? Marie Keller. Miss Keller, are you all right? She nodded quickly, too quickly. Yes, I'm fine. I'm just tired. He watched her for a moment. She wasn't fine. Anyone could see that. Before you see the fate of this woman, tell us where you're watching from, and subscribe if you miss Judge Caprio. Parking timestamp log, the 14th of October 2026. Vehicle registered to M. Keller logged at 7:11 M. Rhode Island Hospital Oncology Wing. Overstay violation issued at 9:43 a.m. Miss Reyes stood and read from the docket. Case 2026TR44129. The City of Providence versus Marie Keller. Charges: 3 unpaid parking citations, expired vehicle registration, failure to appear on 2 court notices. Marie closed her eyes briefly, as if the words physically hurt. Judge Caprio asked her if she understood the charges. Yes, Your Honor. Do you have an attorney? No, I'm representing myself. He nodded. All right. Miss Keller, I see you received 2 notices to appear. October 28th and November 10th. You didn't respond to either. Can you tell me why? She opened her mouth, then closed it. Her hands tightened on the papers. I couldn't. I tried. Her voice faded. Judge Caprio waited. He didn't push. He simply waited. Officer Henry Lowell stood near the side of the courtroom. He was the officer who had issued 2 of the 3 citations. He looked uncomfortable. Judge Caprio asked him if he had anything to add. Your Honor, when I issued the 2nd citation, Miss Keller walked away while I was still speaking. I noted that in my report as non-compliance. Marie's head dropped. I didn't mean to be rude. I had to go. Citation ledger excerpt. Citation #2 issued November 3, 10:17 a.m. Hospital parking garage. Officer notes. Subject appeared distressed. Walked away mid-conversation. Non-compliance logged. Judge Caprio asked Marie to explain what happened the day of the 2nd citation. She took a shaky breath. I was at the hospital. I had an appointment. I parked where I thought I was allowed. I didn't see the sign. When the officer came, I tried to explain, but I couldn't stay. I had to get inside. Judge Caprio asked why she had to get inside so urgently. Marie hesitated. She looked down at the table. I had an appointment. A medical appointment. I was late. What kind of appointment? She didn't answer. He asked again, gently. Miss Keller, what kind of appointment? Her hands, still gripping the papers, began to shake harder. One of the documents slipped again. This time she didn't try to pick it up. Judge Caprio glanced at Miss Reyes, then back at Marie. Miss Keller, I'm not trying to embarrass you. I'm trying to understand what happened. Can you help me understand? She nodded, but she didn't speak. Officer Lowell shifted uncomfortably. He said something quietly to Officer D'Angelo, who frowned. Judge Caprio asked Marie if she needed a moment. No, I'm fine. I'm tired. I'm very tired. Body cam transcript, November 3, 10:18 Officer Lowell, ma'am, I need you to sign this citation. Subject M. Please, I can't breathe. I have to go. Officer, ma'am, you need to stay here until subject walks away, visible tremor in gait. Judge Caprio asked Marie to walk him through the timeline of the 3 citations. She tried. She said the first one was in September, at the hospital parking lot. She said she overstayed because her appointment ran long. How long was the appointment supposed to be? 30 minutes. It took 3 hours. What kind of appointment takes 3 hours? She looked at him, and for the first time, something like fear crossed her face. A treatment. Judge Caprio paused. What kind of treatment? Marie didn't answer. She looked at the floor. He asked again, softer this time. Miss Keller, what kind of treatment? Officer Lowell spoke up. Your Honor, if I may, when I issued the second citation, I noticed Miss Keller had visible bruising on her arms. I assumed she had been in an accident, but she never mentioned one. Marie's head snapped up. I didn't have an accident. Judge Caprio asked what caused the bruising. Marie looked at him for a long moment. Then she slowly, carefully, pulled up the sleeve of her sweater. Her forearm was covered in bruises, deep purple and yellow, overlapping in clusters. Medical tape wrapped around the inside of her elbow. A small, circular bandage covered what looked like a needle mark. The courtroom went silent. Judge Caprio stared at her arm. He didn't speak. Marie pulled her sleeve back down quickly, as if ashamed. It's from the IV. They have trouble finding my veins now. Hospital voicemail log, November 9, 8:32 a.m. This is Sarah Mendez from Rhode Island Hospital Social Services, calling for Judge Caprio's office regarding Marie Keller, Case 2026TR44129. Miss Keller is currently undergoing intensive chemotherapy treatment for stage 3 breast cancer. She has missed multiple court dates due to medical incapacity. Please contact our office for documentation. Judge Caprio set his pen down slowly. He looked at Marie, then at the papers in front of him, then back at her. Miss Keller, what is happening to you? Marie's lip trembled. She pressed them together hard, trying to keep herself steady. She shook her head slightly, as if refusing to say it out loud would make it less real. Judge Caprio asked again, quieter. Marie, what is happening to you? Her voice came out in a whisper. I have cancer. 5 seconds. 7, 10, 12. The silence in the courtroom was absolute. No one moved. No one breathed. Marie's hands finally let go of the papers. They fell to the table in a scattered pile. She covered her face with both hands. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I tried to come to court. I tried to pay the fines. I can't. I'm so tired. I'm so tired all the time. Judge Caprio's face had gone completely still. He was staring at her, but his expression wasn't one of judgment. It was something else, something softer, sadder. Officer Lowell, standing near the wall, looked stricken. His face had gone pale. Oncology appointment log, Rhode Island Hospital. Marie Keller, Dobb. The 12th of April 1984. Diagnosis: Stage 3 invasive ductal carcinoma. Treatment schedule: chemotherapy every 2 weeks, Wednesdays, 8:11:30 a. Appointments: Sep 20, Oct 4, Oct 18, Nov 1, Nov 15, Nov 29. A young girl stood up from the gallery. She was 15, maybe 16, with dark hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looked terrified. Your Honor, can I say something? Judge Caprio looked at her. Who are you? I'm Emily. I'm her daughter. She walked forward slowly, her hands clasped in front of her like she was trying to hold herself together. She didn't miss court because she didn't care. She missed it because she was too sick to stand. The first date, October 28th, she had chemo the day before. She was throwing up all night. I begged her not to try to drive. The second date, November 10th, she passed out in the bathroom. I called 911. They took her to the hospital. Emily's voice cracked. She's not trying to avoid responsibility. She's just trying to stay alive. Judge Caprio didn't interrupt. He let her speak. Emily looked at her mother, who was still covering her face. I'm taking care of her now. I make her meals. I drive her to appointments when I can. I remind her to take her medicine. I do everything I can. But she won't ask for help. She won't tell anyone what's happening because she doesn't want to be a burden. She looked back at Judge Caprio. Please don't punish her for being sick. Officer Lowell stepped forward suddenly. Your Honor, I'd like to withdraw my statement about non-compliance. I didn't know. I should have asked more questions. His voice was tight, like he was fighting to keep it steady. I'm sorry, Miss Keller. I should have been more understanding. Marie finally looked up. Tears streamed down her face. You didn't know. How could you know? I didn't tell anyone. If you misjudge Caprio's humanity, keep watching. Voicemail transcript. Hospital social worker Sarah Mendez. Judge Caprio, Miss Keller is one of the most compliant patients I've worked with. She never misses treatment. She never complains. But her financial situation is dire. She's been choosing between gas money and groceries. The parking fines are devastating to her. Please, if there's any way to show leniency, I'm asking you to consider it. Judge Caprio picked up the file in front of him. He read through it slowly, page by page. No one spoke. The only sound in the courtroom was the faint rustle of paper. Finally, he looked up. Marie, I'm looking at your chemotherapy schedule. You have treatment every other Wednesday. Is that correct? She nodded. The court notices you received, the ones you missed, were scheduled for October 28th and November 10th. Those were both the day after your chemo sessions. He paused. You weren't ignoring the court. You were recovering from treatment. Marie nodded again, unable to speak. Judge Caprio set the file down. The 3 parking citations. All of them were issued in hospital parking lots. All of them were for overstaying. And all of them happened because your treatment took longer than expected. He looked at Officer Lowell. Officer, you said Miss Keller walked away while you were speaking. But according to the body cam transcript, she said, I can't breathe. I have to go. Is that correct? Officer Lowell nodded. Yes, Your Honor. She wasn't being disrespectful. She was in distress. Officer Lowell's voice was quiet. I understand that now. Judge Caprio turned back to Marie. Miss Keller, the expired registration. When did it expire? August. Why didn't you renew it? She hesitated. I couldn't afford it. The treatment, the co-pays. I had to choose. Judge Caprio nodded slowly. He leaned back in his chair and folded his hands. Here's what I'm going to do. All charges are dismissed. The 3 parking citations, the expired registration, the failure to appear dismissed. You owe nothing. Marie stared at him. What? You owe nothing. She shook her head, disbelieving. But I broke the rules. I didn't pay. I didn't show up. Judge Caprio's voice was firm but gentle. You were fighting for your life. That's not a crime. Internal Court Memo Draft. Effective, immediately, all municipal citations issued to individuals undergoing active medical treatment for life-threatening illness shall be flagged for hardship review. No fines shall be imposed without judicial review. Compassionate circumstance protocol to be developed in coordination with hospital social services. Judge Caprio wasn't finished. He looked at Miss Reyes. Miss Reyes, I want you to create a new flag in the case management system. It's called a medical hardship flag. Any defendant who submits documentation of serious illness, cancer, dialysis, terminal diagnosis gets flagged immediately. Those cases come directly to me before any fines are imposed. Miss Reyes nodded. Yes, Your Honor. He turned to Officer Lowell. Officer, I'm not criticizing you. You did your job. But I want you to take this case back to your division and use it as a training example. Not everyone who seems non-compliant is being defiant. Some people are just struggling. Officer Lowell nodded. I will, Your Honor. Judge Caprio looked back at Marie. Miss Keller, I'm also going to make a recommendation to the hospital. They need better signage in their parking lots. They need grace periods for patients undergoing treatment. And they need to communicate better with the city about medical parking needs. Marie wiped her face with her sleeve. Thank you. Thank you so much. Judge Caprio held up a hand. I'm not done. I want to offer you something, but only if you're able. If your health allows it, and only if your health allows it, I'd like to invite you to participate in a public service announcement about invisible illness. So many people are struggling in ways we can't see. If you're willing to share your story, it might help others. Marie looked at Emily, who nodded encouragingly. I'll do it. If it helps someone else, I'll do it. Judge Caprio smiled slightly. Good. We'll coordinate through the hospital social worker. No pressure. No deadlines. Whenever you're ready. He paused. And one more thing. The city has a patient assistance fund for people undergoing cancer treatment. I'm going to make sure you're connected with it. It can help with transportation, co-pays, and other expenses. Marie broke down completely. She covered her face again and sobbed. I just didn't want to be a burden. I didn't want anyone to know. Judge Caprio's voice was soft. You're not a burden, Marie. You're a human being who deserves compassion. Emily stepped forward and put her arm around her mother. Marie leaned into her, still crying. Judge Caprio looked at them both. Emily, you're 15 years old, and you're taking care of your mother. That's not a responsibility a child should have to carry, but you're doing it with grace and strength. I'm proud of you. Emily's eyes filled with tears. I just want her to be okay. I know, and I hope she will be. He turned back to Marie. Miss Keller, I want you to focus on one thing, getting better. Don't worry about fines. Don't worry about court dates. Don't worry about expired registrations. We'll take care of all of that. You take care of yourself. Marie finally looked up at him. Her face was streaked with tears, but something in her expression had softened. Why are you being so kind? Judge Caprio looked at her for a long moment. Because kindness is free, and because the law is supposed to serve justice, not cruelty. You haven't done anything that deserves punishment. You've done everything you can just to survive. That deserves respect. Officer Lowell stepped forward again. Miss Keller, I'm truly sorry. If I had known... Marie shook her head. You couldn't have known. I should have said something. No, Officer Lowell said firmly. I should have asked. The two of them looked at each other for a moment. Then Marie nodded. Thank you. Compassionate Case Ledger Entry. The 18th of November 2026. Case 2026-TR44129 dismissed in full. Medical hardship protocol enacted. Defendant connected with patient assistance resources. Follow-up. PSA pending health status. Officer commended for voluntary training initiative. Judge Caprio closed the file and set it aside. He picked up a small note card and wrote something on it. Then he looked at Marie and Emily one more time. Before you go, I want to give you this. He handed the card to Officer D'Angelo, who brought it to Marie. She read it silently, her lips trembling. Then she pressed it to her chest and nodded. Judge Caprio's voice was quiet. Remember that when things get hard. Marie whispered, I will. She and Emily turned to leave. As they walked toward the door, several people in the gallery stood and clapped softly. Marie stopped, surprised, and looked back. Judge Caprio nodded at her. She smiled small, fragile, but real, and walked out with her daughter's arm around her. The courtroom slowly returned to its normal hum. Miss Reyes shuffled papers. Officer D'Angelo returned to his post. But everyone who had been in the room felt the weight of what had just happened. Judge Caprio sat quietly for a moment, staring at the bench in front of him. Then he picked up his pen and wrote one more line in his personal notes. Some cases need mercy more than law. Would you have ruled differently? Share your thoughts below. 3 weeks later, Sarah Mendez, the hospital social worker, sent an email to the court. Judge Caprio, I wanted to update you on Marie Keller. She completed her most recent round of chemo and is responding well. The Patient Assistance Fund covered her transportation costs for the past month, and she was able to renew her vehicle registration. She asked me to thank you. She said you gave her something she didn't think she deserved: dignity. 6 weeks later, Marie and Emily appeared in a short public service announcement filmed in the courthouse. Marie spoke calmly, clearly, about her experience. I thought asking for help meant I was weak. I thought telling people I was sick meant I was a burden. But Judge Caprio taught me that struggling doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And being human means you deserve compassion. The PSA was shared by the hospital, the court, and several local advocacy groups. Within 2 months, it had been viewed over 200,000 times. Officer Lowell used the case in a training session for the traffic division. He showed the body cam footage and explained what he missed. I saw someone walking away. I didn't see someone who couldn't breathe. I saw non-compliance. I didn't see suffering. That's on me. And I'm telling you this so you don't make the same mistake. The training became mandatory for all traffic officers in Providence. The medical hardship flag was implemented citywide. In the first 6 months, 43 cases were flagged and reviewed. 39 resulted in dismissed or reduced fines. 4 defendants were connected with social services they didn't know existed. Marie continued her treatment. Some days were good, some days were unbearable, but she kept going. And every time she felt like giving up, she pulled out the note card Judge Caprio had given her. It read, "You are not a burden. You are a fighter. Keep fighting." 1 year after the hearing, Marie returned to the courthouse. She wasn't there for a case. She was there to thank Judge Caprio in person. She looked different. Her hair had grown back short, but healthy. Her face had color. She moved without trembling. Judge Caprio saw her in the hallway and smiled. "Marie, you look wonderful." "I feel wonderful." "Well, better. I'm in remission." His face lit up. "That's incredible. I'm so happy for you." She handed him a small envelope. "I wanted to give you this." He opened it. Inside was a card with a photograph. It showed Marie and Emily standing in front of the ocean, both smiling, arms around each other. On the back, Marie had written, "You gave me more than a dismissal. You gave me hope. Thank you for seeing me when I felt invisible." Judge Caprio looked at the photo for a long time. Then he looked at Marie. "You were never invisible, Marie. You were just struggling to be seen." She smiled. "Well, I see myself now, and I'm not going to stop fighting." "Good, don't." They shook hands, and Marie walked away steady, strong, alive. 5 years later, the case was still referenced in judicial training programs across Rhode Island. The medical hardship protocol had been adopted by 12 other municipalities. Marie's PSA was used in hospitals, advocacy centers, and courtrooms to teach empathy and awareness. Marie was 37, cancer-free, and working as a patient advocate. She spent her days helping people navigate the same systems that had once overwhelmed her. Emily was 20, studying social work in college. She said her mother's case was the reason she chose her career. I watched a judge see my mom when everyone else just saw a case number. I want to do that for other people. Officer Henry Lowell retired after 32 years of service. In his retirement speech, he mentioned Marie's case. I learned more from one traffic stop than I did in 3 decades of citations. I learned that compassion isn't soft. It's essential. And I learned that sometimes the most important thing you can do is ask one more question. Judge Frank Caprio kept the photograph Marie gave him in his desk drawer. Every so often, when a difficult case came across his bench, he'd pull it out and look at it. It reminded him why he became a judge in the first place. Not to punish, to serve, not to enforce rules blindly, to see people clearly. And every time he looked at that photo, Marie and Emily, smiling by the ocean, he remembered the words he'd written on that note card 5 years earlier. Some cases need mercy more than law. He believed that then. He believed it still. Dramatization for storytelling and education, not legal advice or reporting.